Welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Ryan Haywood.
This just in, we've got a missing persons case. Pretty big one, in fact, and it's apparently 128 million console gamers. They're just gone, vanished without a trace.
Or they just moved to mobile, probably is what happened.
Unfortunately, that's a possibility.
Yeah, someone on the tech site Finder.com compiled console sales from the current and most previous generations and found something pretty astonishing, that there are a lot fewer people buying consoles this time around.
Now, to see how we got there, first, let's see how many consoles were sold in the last generation. That's the one with the Wii, the PS3, and the Xbox 360. In 7 years, about 274 million consoles were sold across those platforms. That's 101 million Wiis. Sold a lot of Wiis that generation. 87 million PlayStation 3s and 86 million Xbox 360s.
We're only 4 years into this generation, but so far we've seen 50 million PS4s sold, 25 million Xbox Ones, and 13 million Wii U's. That's 88 million consoles sold across 4 years, which is a lot less. But in fairness, this gen still has 3 more years to go before we can make a direct comparison with the previous one.
The problem for this generation's consoles is that the sales are already starting to slow down much quicker than they did the last generation. The author of the report on Finder assumes that we'll see maybe an 8% drop in sales for the next 3 years or so, which would actually be pretty tame by previous generation standards. That would end up with in the neighborhood of 146 million consoles sold for this generation, which is how we get the 128 million missing gamers thing.
Maybe they just became better at sharing. There could be some caveat here, though. As we all know, the Wii was kind of a monster in the last generation, selling 101 million units. With the Wii U, its follow-up, it's been kind of a disaster, selling just more than 10% of that. So that's potentially a huge chunk of casual gamers who bought the Wii because of the hype, but then kind of dropped out of the market and are now playing Plants vs. Zombies on their iPhones. And
Pokemon Go?
yeah, sure.
Super Mario Run?
Just rotten
Maybe?
hell, you casuals. We never wanted you anyway.
Yeah, that's right. We don't miss you. Still, though, even if you take out the Wii's sales last generation, that's still a gap of tens of millions of gamers compared to today, which is kind of weird because PS4 is even outselling PS2, and yet there's still kind of this gap. So it's still a much smaller install base that game developers have to sell their software to, and smaller install bases, well, they're what kill consoles. Just ask the Wii U or the Vita.
Do you have a Ouija board to do that with?
No, we can't ask the dead, I guess.
It doesn't mean, though, that console games aren't still making money, because they are. The console gaming market revenue was up 4.5% last year at $29 billion, according to Newzoo. But that's smaller than PC gaming, which was at $31.9 billion last year. And most significantly, last year was the first time that mobile game sales accounted for more revenue than console gaming. Mobile gaming did an incredible $36.9 billion in revenue, which was 37% of the total market.
So, that kind of begs the question, is purebred console gaming kind of done for?
A ton has been written over the years about that topic, with the theory that people increasingly aren't going to pay money for a dedicated gaming system that they have to sit on their couch to play. That's probably why Nintendo is banking on the portability of their new Switch, with the idea that it will open up a new style of gaming and a whole new audience.
Sales numbers over the years certainly don't paint a pretty picture for console sales overall. Not that they're gonna go away tomorrow, that we'll never see another one, because we will.
In fact, we saw possible. 2 from each of the major developers in this particular generation.
Already.
In 2008, there were 88.8 million consoles and handhelds sold. That was back in the glory days of Wii and DS. But that was also when iPhone was just a year old. It has dropped every year since then, bottoming out last year at around 24 million consoles and handhelds sold. That's a massive drop-off, and it shows how much of a bite mobile gaming has taken out of everything else.
Which sucks, because I always want to say, where are your standards? Handheld games are so much more fun than mobile games. The inputs, everything. You know what? I'll just save that sort of soapbox for another day. Microsoft officials have even said they think that this could be their last official generation of Xboxes. When asked by Engadget if this is the last console generation, Aaron Greenberg, the head of Xbox Games Marketing, said, "I think it is."
We think the future is without console generations, Greenberg said. We think that the ability to build a library, a community, to be able to iterate with the hardware. We're making a pretty big bet on that with the Project Scorpio. We're basically saying, this isn't a new generation. Everything you have continues forward and it works. We think of this as a family of devices.
And then that's actually backed up by the fact that both Microsoft and Sony have come out with, or are coming out with, additional versions of the Xbox One, the PS4. That's where we get the Pro, we get the Scorpio, where they're not a new generation, they're just another iteration. You know, it could be that they want consoles to become a little bit more like the PC market, where instead of one generation every 8 years, you upgrade your machine as you desire more power, but you can still play all the old games.
Xbox boss Phil Spencer even directly compared the two markets, console and PC, that is, when he said, "We can effectively feel a little more like what we see on PC, where I can still go back and run my old Doom and Quake games that I ran so many years ago and still see the best new 4K games come out. And my whole library is always with me."
So maybe consoles themselves aren't dying per se, but the concept of console generations is. Instead, we'll just see companies constantly coming out with steady stream of slightly upgraded devices. You don't have to get them. They're not mandatory purchases. All right, so if you want to get the 4K, you want to get the HDR, then you spring for the new hardware. If those don't matter to you because you don't even have a 4K TV yet, you don't worry about it, but you still get all the games.
I still like to have the acronyms, though.
So it still leaves the question though, what happened to all those console gamers? A generation ago, there were 128 million more people who bought a console than we have this generation. And while the PS4 is the sales leader this time around, doing fantastic, there hasn't been a smash hit console this generation like the Wii was. I mean, the PS4 is obviously winning. It's double, well, maybe potentially more than double the sales of Xbox One. But that's nowhere near what we did. We ran away with the entire generation. I mean, maybe all the people just joined the PC master race. Maybe they're playing mobile games. Maybe they're trying to clear out their Netflix backlog. Who knows?
I mean, and to be fair, I feel like during that last generation, there were a lot more people inclined to buy more than one console, which now we've gone to a lot of people that are probably just narrowed it down to one console, which does look like gamers have left the marketplace when they've really just specialized.
Right, they're not investing in everything. One thing is for sure, gaming, it's an up and down business. Something can always come along that brings in a flood of new players. Maybe virtual reality will take the world by storm in 2017. Or judging by 2016, maybe not.
No, I have to have a place to hide. Well, what do you guys think of the future of console gaming? Will VR or the Switch bring a bunch of casuals back? Let us know in the comments.
Do you want the casuals back?
They can come, it's fine.
Well, it helps the industry out for sure. We need those guys. And for all your gaming news, console, PC, mobile, otherwise, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Know. Tall dude, but you put him next to anyone, you're like, holy shit.
So Ryan's freakishly tall.
No, we're talking about Adam. I'm normal tall.
He's normal tall. He's
Yeah,
normal tall?
Adam's
Ryan's
freakishly
normal
tall.
No, Ryan's freakishly
No,
tall.
I'm
Ryan's
totally
just
normal tall.
Ryan's normal tall. Adam.
You are freakishly short, yeah.
Shut up, Ryan.
Look, that's the crossover. I didn't make the rules.